All right, guys, today we're going to talk on photosynthesis. So, photosynthesis is one of the most biological processes that occur and takes place in living species. Probably, if this process didn't occur, we wouldn't have life on Earth and even food that might enable us to survive. Now, all living things require energy to do work. This energy comes in many forms and they are used in many different ways. For example, plants can generate their own energy through the process of photosynthesis, while animals must extract the energy through cellular respiration from the food they consume. So, in today's lecture, we will learn on how energy is generated and used in various living systems. Now, believe this or not, the source for all energy that is generated and used in living things is the sun. Now, photosynthesis is a process by which plants use the radiant energy from the sunlight to produce sugar. So during photosynthesis, plants use sunlight. Let me have this in green. During photosynthesis, plants use sunlight plus carbon dioxide plus water. So these substances are normally referred to as the raw material materials or reactants of photosynthesis. And these raw materials or reactants give rise to a product which is carbohydrates. This is also called sugar. This is carbohydrate plus oxygen. Now, carbohydrates is a major source of energy provisions for living things, including human beings as well. And it also provides foods for living species. And of course, oxygen is a gas that an organisms, including human beings, breathe in. And this gas comes directly from plants. So the overall equations for photosynthesis is sunlight, which is also called photon, plus carbon dioxide plus water, which give rise to glucose. Let me write this CH2O. Now, let me explain this a little bit. This is the general formula for glucose. So, in terms of glucose, N is represented as 6. So, here we have C6H12O6, and of course, oxygen. So, this is a general equations for photosynthesis. Now, let's try to balance this equation. Let me have this in red. Let's try to balance this equation. Now remember here we have C N H N. So this N affects everything in this parenthesis. So here I'm going to add N here. I'm also going to add N here and also add N here. Now, like I said previously, in terms of glucose, N represents 6. So this is 6 carbon, 2 of oxygen. Here we have 2 of hydrogen, 6 oxygen. So oxygen 6 plus 2 of that is 18 oxygen, 6 carbon, 2 of hydrogen, 6 plus 2 of 18 oxygen. Now let's go back into the products. So here we have 6 carbon, 2 of hydrogen, and 6 oxygen. Now 6 plus 12, remember this is 6, 2 down 6 is 12, 6 oxygen plus 2 of oxygen is also 18. So 18 oxygen in the product and 18 oxygen in the reactant. Oxygen is balanced. Carbon is 6, carbon is 6. Hydrogen is 12, hydrogen is 12. This equation is balanced. Now, the chemical energy generated and used in this process allows the plants to take up important nutrients such as nitrogen. That's nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is an important nutrient found in the soil that enables plants to grow. Plants to grow. Now, as the plants grow, they are eaten and it provides food for other living things. Now, the process of extracting usable energy from the sun's ray is a complicated one, and the whole process begins in organelles known as chloroplast. Chloroplast. Now, let's talk on chloroplast a little bit. Chloroplast is mostly concentrated in the leaves of the plant, and they are unique to the plant cells and are somewhat like solar receptors. Solar receptor. Now, why they are solar receptor? Because they absorbed solar energy or radiant energy directly from the sun. And so chloroplasts have several internal structure, each with a specific function. So to discuss chloroplasts, let's start with the diagram of a plant cell. So I'm going to do this in black. Now, the plant cell is rectangular in shape. So let me see if I can do justice to this. I'm not going to draw this too big. So this is a typical diagram of a plant cell. Yeah, this looks crazy though, but it's good. This is a typical diagram of a plant cell. So I'm not going to draw all the organelles in plant cells. I'm going to draw the nucleus, which is one of the important parts, the nucleus and the nucleus, and go straight to the chloroplast. The chloroplast. So if this is being magnified on a microscope, this is how it will look like. Let me do this with green. Now, so if chloroplast is magnified on a microscope, it's going to look like this. A shirt folded into it. Now, there is a fluid at the base membrane of a chloroplast. So this is known as the stroma. Known as the stroma. And the stroma is a fluid formed at the base of the chloroplast. And within a chloroplast, we also have a sac, a folded sac like this. Let me do something like this. A folded sac. And the sac has something like this. 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 Like this. And these folded sac are called thalakua. L-A-K-O-R-D. I call thalakua. Now the thalakua are tiny membrane sac containing the chlorophyll in the chloroplast. And there is an empty space found in the thalakua membrane. I'm going to do this with yellow. Now this empty space here is known as the lumen. Now, the lumen is a space within the thalakua membrane, and the membrane is enfolded with a shell, and this shell is known as the grana. So, with the presence of chloroplasts in the leaf of plants, plants are able to produce food. These are basic informations on chloroplast and more to learn. Now, once photosynthesis is concluded in the leaves of the plant, usable energy is available to those plants and the animals that might eat the plants. But in order for the plants and animals to make use of this energy, they must be able to break the chemical bond in the glucose formed by photosynthesis in order to release the stored chemical energy. So they must be able to break the chemical bond. Let me have this in yellow. In order for plants and animals to make use of this chemical energy, they must be able to break the chemical bond. So we say the chemical bond in the glucose formed by photosynthesis in order to release the stored chemical energy. Now, this is where the process called cellular respiration takes place. So, when the chemical bond is broken down, the process called cellular respiration takes place. Now, cellular respiration is the process of converting glucose into usable energy source. And cellular respiration is also known as cellular metabolism. Now, they are known as cellular metabolism because the cells are metabolizing or breaking down the sugar molecule. So, cellular respiration yields usable energy molecule known as ATP. And of course, ATP is adenosine triphosphate. ADNO. Adenosine triphosphate. So ATP is a universal fuel for all cells. It provides energy for chemical reactions to occur, and it also stores and transports chemical energy within and between cells. Now, ATP provides energy for three distinct types. So I'm not gonna write these. I'll just record them. So those three distinct types that ATP provides energy for: one, they transport needed substances across membrane. They activate metabolic reactions that will not occur automatically, and they perform specific chemical work such as moving muscles. Now, photosynthesis requires two stages. Photosynthesis requires two stages. I'm going to have this in red. Photosynthesis requires two stages. Photosynthesis requires two stages. And these two stages are known as the light reaction and the dark reaction. There's some crazy dark reaction. Now, the light reaction can also be referred to as the light dependent reaction, and the dark reactions can also be referred to as the light independent reaction. Now, this reaction, the light dependent reaction, as the name implies, need light or photon. Need light or photon. Now, they need light or photon in order to manufacture food. Now, the light reactions produced ATP, which was previously explained on cellular respiration, and NADPH. So I'm going to explain more on this in the next lecture. And the dark reaction do not require light. They depend on the light reaction to proceed. Remember that this occurs both in day and night, so they are normally referred to as Calvin cycle. Calvin cycle. Now, let's talk a little bit on dark reaction. Calvin cycle the name implies from a scientist known as Melvin Calvin. Anyway, so Calvin cycle do not really produce sugar. Now, they produce a phosphate glacial aldehydes. So they produce something known as PIGA, known as piga, and G-T-P. So I'm going to write the meaning of this. So piga is phos phosphoglycerol aldehyde. And G-T-P is glycerol, and writing is not too good. Glycerol aldehyde 3-phosphate. So similar term, different spelling, right? So this is like a 3 carbon with a phosphate attached. So I'm going to talk more on this in our next lecture. So guys, thank you so much for watching. My next lecture will be on the light dependence and independence reaction. Now, if you are new to this page, please subscribe, like, share it, and click on that little bell icon to get notified when I drop new video. Thank you so much.